Today is Disability Rights Day. It's our annual event where individuals with developmental disabilities, family members, advocates come from across the state to visit with their legislators and communicate support for home and community-based services for people with developmental disabilities. Specifically today is really focusing on the need to fund services that are not funded currently in the budget.
What types of issues are these people currently facing?
Mostly it's people who do not have access to services because the state has had budget cuts for so many years. There has been no new money to fund services for people who live with developmental disabilities, and so there is a waiting list for services, and that waiting list has just continued to grow and grow, and they are just doing without services, and it's just very difficult for them to get by with no assistance. And when they reach the crisis point, they have no choice but to enter an institution, which costs more and certainly is not what anybody wants. It's not a good quality of life, and it separates people from their homes, their families, and their communities.
Well, I'm here to support all of the people who are involved with rights for developmentally disabled people. And so this is their day at the Capitol, and they asked me to be one of their speakers, and so that's why I'm here. It is not often that we get to see them in full force in the way that they are, who come out to petition for their rights, and just to see if the lawmakers can understand what they go through on a daily basis. Not just the participants themselves, but the caretakers as well. And so this is their day to be here, and it's exciting to see them. Today is a great day. It's sun shining, it's perfect, and so it gives them an opportunity to come to the Capitol.
We're here to advocate and support this group and issues that are important to them.
Why is it important that we stand up and advocate for these people?
Well, these are the folks that need our help the most, aren't they? So they're desperate for funding, they're working hard to advocate for their children and for other children around the state, and so anything we can do to help them and support them, I'm all in.
And what are some ways that people can get involved?
Well, you know, there are groups all over the state, I have learned, and they're very active. They have monthly gatherings and panel discussions. They're very clear in their literature about roles that legislators can play and members of the community. They want jobs, they want a normal life just like everyone else, and so I think the opportunities are endless to get involved.
We have been rallying on these steps for many, many years and have faced some really tough times lately. We understand that it's easy to get discouraged, especially when we don't get the results we need. But it is reassuring to see that you are not alone. We are a community of advocates who share a vision of people with developmental disabilities being included in all aspects of community life. And we have a history of successful advocacy that spans 28 years. We must be persistent and never give up. Your personal stories have moved mountains before, and they have potential to move mountains again. We have a great program planned for you today, so I hope you are ready to be empowered and ready to yell. Let me hear you. Hey, 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 ho, ho, the waiting list has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, the waiting list has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, the waiting list has got to go. That's a great start. I'm happy Hackard, a parent from Baton Rouge. Let's welcome Jeff and Doris.
Ladies first.
Hi, my name is Doris Hackard. I'm a parent to a very special little boy from right here in Baton Rouge.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Jeff Hurston. I'm a member of People First, Region 9. I work at North Shore Family, helping families. And I am a public speaker that focuses on getting the word out. So, Doris, I got a question for you. Why are we here?
So legislators will hear our message.
What's the message?
People with developmental disabilities need individual and family support services to live in their own homes and be involved in their communities.
Hey, aren't these services optional?
Not to the people who need them. These services are often the difference between independence and institutionalization, life and death.
Hey, I know y'all gonna leave me in a chair. Hear me! Hear me! Home is where I want to be. Hear me! Hear me! Home is where I want to be.
Hear me, home is where I want to be. Hear me, home is where I want to be.
You know, it's so important to let our legislators know these services need to be funded.
That's right, Jeff. For starters, we need to fill vacant waiver slots for people with developmental disabilities.
What's the big deal about waiver services, Doris?
Waiver services help people with developmental disabilities live in their own homes and communities and have full and meaningful lives. These are the services people want, evident by the long waiting list.
Come on now, it can't be that long. How long is it, Doris?
Over 15,000 people.
Did you say 15,000? The wait must be very long.
Yep, over 12 years. Is there anybody here who is on the waiting list?
So if people are waiting for over 12 years, so if people are waiting for over 12 years for a waiver, how did they get by in the meantime, Doris?
They might be able to get a little help through other programs like the Individual and Family Support Program and Flexible Family Fund.
Hey, Doris, you don't sound convinced that that will work.
That's because all these programs have been cut over the last several years, and the Human Services districts and authorities are facing new cuts in the budget proposal for next year.
So we want the funding for these agencies restored.
Yes.
All the people out there, can you hear me say yes? I can hear you.
But we also want these programs to be prioritized and funded equitably around the state. All of these programs are critical because people are not receiving any other services, and these programs help family endure the wait. Without community support, some people may have to move to institutions away from their family and friends.
So you're saying life is better at home in the community?
Absolutely.
We've waited long enough. We've waited long enough.
Waited long enough.
not only should these services be funded, but they need to be made available to all those in need, no matter where they live.
So it is important for each and every one of you to go talk to your legislators today and throughout the legislative session about all the services people with developmental disabilities depend on.
Only you can make a difference.
It is my pleasure to introduce to you our keynote speaker, Representative Barbara Carpenter. For many years, Representative Carpenter has been a strong advocate for her daughter and others with developmental disabilities. She understands firsthand how important individual and family supports and services are for individuals and families that need them. Representative Carter currently represents District 63 here in East Baton Rouge Parish.
Hello. And welcome to the Capitol once again. I have learned so much about the issues that impact people with developmental disabilities from you, the advocates that visit us, who call, who email us, who write me. And because of you, I've been an advocate for you. Not only because of you, I am a parent of a child who is autistic. So I know what it means to work with people with developmental disabilities. Legislators want to help you, but we cannot do it if we don't hear from you. So today is your opportunity to go inside the Capitol, make that connection. Before you leave today, make sure your legislators know your name, your face, your story. Make the commitment to share with them the importance of services for people with developmental disabilities. I know how critical waivers and other services are because advocates have educated me. I want all of my colleagues to be just as educated, and maybe they too will become passionate about services for people with developmental disabilities. I believe that people with developmental disabilities and their families should be a priority, and I will continue to work with you to ensure that supports and services are available to you. Once again, thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for allowing me to be an advocate for you. Thank you.
Thank you for that. It's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Senator Sharon Hewitt, who represents Senate District 1, which is the Florida Parish North Shore areas. Senator Hewitt served on a very important committee, Senate Finance. She has been an advocate for people with developmental disability to receive the support they need to live in their homes. Please join me in welcoming Miss Senator Sharon Hewitt.
Thank you. I'm going to see if this helps with the wind a little bit. Well, on behalf of the Senate, I'd like to welcome all of you to the Capitol today. You all are, I want you to know, you are the #1 advocacy group that we see every year at the Capitol. Y'all are the biggest, the baddest, the loudest. You all do a tremendous job in educating legislators as well as the public on the things that are important to you. And what I love about this group is we don't just see you on Developmental Disability Day. The yellow shirts are in the Capitol almost every day. And you have a very clear message. We understand that you want to care for loved ones in your homes and not in institutions, and we get that. We know that you want more people on waivers so that you have the ability to do that, and we understand that. And we want to work with you to try to help do those things, because if ever there was a community that we respect and that we want to help, it would be this community. Thank y'all for being the voice of your children. Thank y'all for advocating for other children and disabled folks around the state. Your voices are important, and we appreciate you, we hear you, we love you, and we want to do everything we can do to help you. Thank y'all. Have a great day today at the Capitol. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Hewitt, so much. We also have Senator Troy Carter here from New Orleans, who's going to say a few words.
Thank you all very much, and thank you for being here. My good state representative and state senator has said much in all that really needs to be said about the significance of us hearing from you. Oftentimes we preach to the choir, and right now, we're all on the same page. We're here for you. We recognize the importance of working with people with disabilities, people that need additional services, our young people who need now waivers, our young people in our families who are working families that have to care for their loved ones. We get it. Some of our members don't. Sometimes common sense measures are not as common around here as you might want it to be. But it takes the kind of advocacy, leadership, and commitment when people take time out of their schedules to come to the Capitol, to the People's House, and make their feelings and their concerns known. So rest assured that we stand with you. We will fight with you. The sign says people are tired of waiting. The waiting has gone too long. Communities first. Fund quality services. Waiting list is not a service. Well, we're gonna shorten that wait. We're gonna fight to make sure that you're not on a waiting list that goes nowhere. We're gonna make sure that not only have we heard you, but we're gonna join in your voices to make sure others hear you as well. God bless you and keep up the battle.
Thank you so much, Senator Carter.
Thank you, sir.
As you all know, last year Governor Edwards was here and is a real advocate for people with developmental disabilities as well. Unfortunately, Governor Edwards had another commitment today and isn't able to join us, but we are fortunate to have Steve Spires with us to represent the governor. Steve is the governor's health care policy advisor, and he has been a friend to us and our issues even before he joined the governor's office. Here's Steve. I lost you in the crowd. Please join me in welcoming Steve Spires.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks, Sandy, for the introduction. Governor Edwards sends his hello. He's sorry he can't be with you here today, but he certainly appreciates what you guys do and appreciates you coming to the Capitol to talk to your legislators and to let us know how important services are to you and your families. And here I have a, Sandy, if you can come up for a second, I actually have a certificate here from Governor Edwards. It says, by the name and authority of the state of Louisiana, I, John Bel Edwards, together with the citizens of the great state, do hereby give special recognition to LeCann in acknowledgement of Disability Rights Day. Thank you. And it's been a priority of the governor since he was in the legislature and now as governor to protect services for the DD community. That's why we've made that a priority in the budgets that we've submitted to the legislature. And as we've worked with the senators and colleagues in the House and the Senate, we've tried to prioritize those services and not make cuts. And that's why, going forward, when the governor talks about the need for a plan that balances revenue and the budget, it's because we want to protect critical services, whether it's education or healthcare or roads or services for the DD community, and we want to reduce the wait list, and that's why we've continued to work. And the governor always says he's optimistic that we can find solutions and that he doesn't think he has monopoly on good ideas. He's willing to talk to anybody who has a solution to try to fix the budget problems, and that's what we're going to keep on doing here as we work through the session with the House and the Senate. And we appreciate you guys coming here and telling everybody how important these services are. It does make a difference, and we really appreciate it. So thank you so much for being here today. And on behalf of the governor, thanks for letting me come speak to you.
It is my pleasure to introduce to you Senator Wesley Bishop from New Orleans.
Great. I won't keep you long. We heard that this rally was going on today, so we had to step out and just to stand in solidarity with you and echo the comments of my colleagues that are here. I've had the opportunity to serve in Louisiana legislature for the last 6 years. For the first 4 years, had a chance to serve on the House Education Committee with Governor John Bell Edwards. So I know that where he stands on that, and so as we echo the comments of everybody that's actually here, there are several people here from New Orleans, or a lot of friends, but I've had 3 individuals that have worked as supporters, as advocates my last 5 years here to make sure that the ideas and the solutions for the disability community were always forefront on my mind. So I gotta be remiss if I didn't come to the mic and did not give them a shout out. I saw Jill Eagle here. Jill, where are you? Yeah. I saw Ricky Amy here. Where's Ricky? And the next young lady needs no introduction. Our office is actually in the same building. And so every time she has a function, I try to get there and we try to support that. She has been a die-hard advocate for the disability community. And I think we have more people here in the state of Louisiana advocating the way that she did. Some of the craziness that goes on this building behind me would not be going. And that's Miss Asia Johnson. Good. Thank you guys. I look forward to supporting you. Whenever you need me, just give me a call. Take care.
Okay, everybody, you heard our speakers talk about the importance of your legislators hearing from you today and throughout the legislative session. We heard your voices on these steps, but it's even more important for your legislators to personally hear your voices today and after you go back home, when they are making decisions about what to fund and how much revenue to raise. Remember, when you go inside the Capitol and advocate for yourself and others, you have the power to make a difference. Thank you all so much for coming. Now go advocate.
I hope the rest of their day goes very well. I'm excited to see so many of them. Many of them I know because I work with so many of these people in the community on a daily basis. So it's just fun for everyone. Yeah.
How many people are currently on the waiting list?
It's over 15,000 now. So the people at the top of the list have already waited over 12 years. So, that's half of somebody's, childhood, certainly, more than somebody's childhood, half of their childhood. So it's really ridiculous.
And what are these families doing to get by while they wait?
Just making do. I mean, there used to be some state-funded services that were available to people in the most difficult situations. If they didn't have a lot of extended family support, there are some state-funded services to give them a little bit of assistance to help them get by. But with all the budget cuts that we've seen over the years, even that is very limited now. And so, with that money largely drying up, it's just really difficult. I basically don't know what they're doing. They're struggling is what they're doing. And that assistance, those state-funded supports, it's not equally distributed across the state, and so it really matters where you live according to the amount of access you have to those services. And that's also a real problem with our system is the inequity in funding for these services across the state, and it leads to inequitable access to families.
And where can people go to get involved or to get more information?
they can go to the DD Council's website, which is www.laddc.org. Our grassroots advocacy network is called LACAN, and they can join our listserv and get one of these yellow shirts. And it's certainly free, and involvement, the amount of involvement is totally up to the individual, but we will give you the tools and the support to get involved in advocacy efforts.